This week on the GameTaffy.com news show, you can go on a date with SWTOR this weekend, Durango takes its disc off, and you won't get a happy ending for Mass Effect 3. The GameTaffy.com news show gives you false hope right now. Welcome to the GameTaffy.com news show, brought to you by Weber State News and GameTaffy.com. I'm Marx, and I am furious about last week's interruption. I spent so much time preparing to do this stupid show. Got any plans for this weekend? Well, cancel them, because starting yesterday, Star Wars: The Old Republic went free to play for one weekend. That's right, you can check out every class and experience much of the opening story missions until Monday at 2 a.m. If you've been waiting for a reason to check out The Old Republic, I just gave you one, called Free 99, bitches! Don't say bitches. Next, Bethesda and Mojang finally decided to play nice. Notch announced on his Twitter feed that the trademark dispute is finally over after having signed billions of pages of legal documents. Seriously though, Bethesda never really had a case. When The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim came out last November, were you excited to play the new Scrolls game? Because that was the basis of Bethesda's case. Their legal team claimed consumers would get confused between Skyrim and Mojang's Scrolls. The only way Bethesda would have won is if they had mired Mojang in core and legal fees to the point where the indie developer would have to quit or go bankrupt. It's nice to see them settle and for both companies to keep calm and move along. But I was hoping to see that Quake 3 tournament in the courtroom. Were you unhappy with Mass Effect 3's ending? Well, here's a real problem you can complain to BioWare about. A skilled hacker revealed that content from the Day 1 DLC, From Ashes, was already present on the disc. With a simple 3-step process that we're not going to show you, players can unlock the bonus character from the DLC and place them in the party without paying the $10 fee. Michael Gamble, producer on the Mass Effect franchise, stated back in February that From Ashes was developed by a separate team after the game was already finished. Earlier this week, however, he claimed that the character had been finished before the game shipped because the character had to be fully fleshed out in a way that DLC could not accomplish, referencing the character selection GUI and VO necessities. Now, we don't exactly know which direction this story should go. One producer believes that Gamble has done his best to explain the circumstances and is likely being held from describing the situation in full and disclosing the method behind DLC releases for EA. The other producer disagrees, saying that including DLC at the very beginning of the development cycle is a shady practice, and that all predetermined content should be built with the game. DLC should be built months after a game is released rather than days after the game is supposedly finished. It should be an afterthought, not a forethought. Where do you stand on From Ashes DLC? Are you angry like Ben or moderately appeased like Alex? Leave a comment below and let us know. Giveaways are so cheesy. So if you want free cheese, tell us what this week's trailer of the week is by emailing your guess to GameTaffy@GameTaffy.com. In addition to some Baby Bell cheese, which we may or may not send to you, you are guaranteed to have a chance to be considered for a writing position this week on GameTaffy.com.
Will you beat your enemies head on? Or will you outsmart them?
It's time for upcoming games. Don't be scared, but Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, as well as Silent Hill HD Collection for the 360 and PS3 bring the horror on Tuesday, March 20th. But if horror isn't your thing, check out Ninja Gaiden 3 for some bloody action or Armored Core 5 for some robot carnage, both on the 360 or PS3 and both available on Tuesday. Finally, rumor has it that not only will the Durango be announced at this year's E3, but it will be void of a disk drive. Now, before you start worrying, the rumors state that games will instead be sold on single solid-state hard drives. As long as these don't contain stupid used game-killing DRM that's stupid and ugly and probably doesn't have a good relationship with its mother, we can get behind this. Really, this sounds like the rebirth of the mighty cartridge. Think about this, your old cartridge games were exclusive hard drives for the video games that came out 20 years ago. Wouldn't it be cool to have that kind of durability again? Granted, it raises more questions than it answers, like what will become of your old Xbox and 360 games. And Microsoft has refused to comment on rumors. But don't get your panties up in a knot just because the industry changes, especially when it's for the better. And while we're on the subject, guys wearing panties freaks me out, so you should probably stop doing that. I was going to tell you to subscribe to the GameTaffy.com show on iTunes or to stream the show live on GameTaffy.com's podcast page for absolutely free monies. But then I decided I didn't want to, so I won't. Thanks for watching the GameTaffy.com news show, and I'll see you next week. Maybe. When the elder... what is wrong with my mouth?